Linus Tech Tips. That has been a name I've been hearing for the past few days. I used to watch Linus Tech Tips, and it's just another YouTuber or company that just went down the drain from popularity. It's like the toxic gossip train. I know there's a few things like a video that they put out, some messing allegations and more, but first let's start at the beginning. Update. So I guess someone called Camelot 331 talk about the accusations 5 months ago. And we're going to take a look at those first and see if he's right, and we're also going to look at more, so stay tuned. And I highly recommend you guys watch this video for yourself. I'm putting some of it in here, and I'll put the video in the description down below.
This media group doesn't allow discussion about wages between employees. That's technically illegal in Canada, but will anything be done about it when the practice is so common across North America? It says Linus Sebastian and Linus Media Group are under fire. It is because the Linus Media Group, or Linus Tech Tips, does not allow employees to talk about their wages. Are we surprised? And this is
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Linus Tech Tips, A Greedy Downfall. Part 1. Gamers Nexus and their breakdown of LTT. This first started with a clip of LTT putting down other gaming PC reviewer channels. Then came a video of Gamers Nexus. Now, mind you, I have never heard of Gamers Nexus until now. I'm going to play the start of the video so we can have a baseline in understanding the situation.
A few days ago, this clip from an LTT lab tour got a lot of attention online.
The difference between us and somebody like Gamers Nexus or Hardware Unboxed is we test new components, new tests every time.
Then Hardware Unboxed tweeted dissatisfaction with the statement made in that tour. We didn't say anything at all, anywhere. Even though it's not actually true, they don't collect new data and new tests every single time, and it's not always necessary anyway. So when Linus went on the WAN show, we hadn't gotten involved. Linus responded to Hardware Unboxed on the WAN show and then said the following.
There's a fair number of people that are talking about the whole Trust Me Bro situation, where there were some creators that it seems like you guys are... Look.
Just say it. Everyone knows you're talking about us.
It's pretty clear that not everyone in the creator space handled that super professionally. I don't obviously agree with some of the takes that were out there. I don't think that it's particularly journalistic, for example, to ignore facts, to ignore personal relationships.
It is my job to ignore personal relationships. Yeah, if LMG is going to make false accusations and wants to try and use personal relationships to gain favor so that we don't cover something we think is not okay, it's not going to work with us. We don't play that game.
Now that intro is what we start, but trust me, it gets worse, but we will get there. Part 2, semi-lukewarm milk apology. As I'm recording this, LTT has put a apology video, and I think it would be best to say most of it is company jargon, so I'm only going to leave the part where Linus comes in, and I'll let my audience be the judge.
And let's face it, he's gonna fail again. Hey, it's me. I'm Chief Vision Officer now, but realistically, I'm not gonna be able to hide behind my recent demotion here. I was the one at the head of the company for each and every mistake that our community has rightly brought to our attention. And once again, I made things worse by allowing myself to respond emotionally. It's honestly really hard when people take an internal process error and then they run that all the way to Linus is a thief and wants to auction someone else's intellectual property to the highest bidder, or accuses me of trying to brush something under the rug just because I do think it's important to get all the details before declaring me to be a low-down liar, straight-up piece of shit. We were slow shipping back the GPU that Billet Labs sent us. There's no way around it. That's our bad. But the delay in communication, the one that prompted the post that you guys just saw, it was less than 2 business days. The second that I was made aware of the situation, on the 14th, I emailed Billet Labs and I explained what happened. I even included Colton's attempt at apologizing and offering, no questions asked, full compensation for their stated value of the product, which happened on the 10th, before we were under any pressure to do so, and without Colton even bothering to check with me or Yvonne before just saying, go for it. He knows that our internal policy is to do the right thing. So he tried, bless him. I guess his job is safe for another day. And I'm sorry, I guess I've actually gotten a little bit emotional here again. So I'm going to stop there because whatever's being said about me and whatever's being said about the team should never have allowed my feelings to distract from any valid criticism of our work. My decision, for example, to not bother retesting the monoblock, that was obviously wrong, and my lame response on the forum was a huge and unnecessary blunder. I owe you guys better, and I'm sorry. For my part, first, I'm going to be working through the other members of the exec team for any crisis communication moving forward. And second, I'm going to spend my week working with the other teams to develop a system of processes that will help our company fulfill my vision of being a world-class tech media organization. I'm also going to be spending my week just refocusing, guys, on what matters most, which is bringing you guys the best damn content that we can make. It's been over 10 years. Good Lord, it's been almost 15. But I still love tech. I love my team, and even though our relationship's a little rocky right now, I love this community and everything that it stands for. None of that has changed, and none of it is going to.
I honestly think the apology is okay. It got some lukewarm reviews on it, but for me, personally, it's just another YouTuber that I'm not really able to watch anymore, but you'll understand why. Part 3. Toxic work environment. Warning, this has some triggering stuff in it, such as self-harms, gaslighting, and more. If you don't like these things, skip this part. To stop the speculation in DMs I am receiving, I chose to quit my role at LTT because it and the working environment I was facing was ruining my mental health. The number of daily items in the social media role at the time was expected to fill was incredibly high. I was expected to post 3 tweets, 2 Instagram posts, and 2 TikToks minimum per day. I was also expected to plan, film, edit, and post 2 Flowplane exclusives per week. This included wrangling people to be in them when they were also all struggling to get their work done. I was also expected to manage, plan, come up with, execute, and get approval for and schedule all of the sponsored content on socials, not including YouTube, all while being told not to complain because my job was the fun job. I cannot speak on what it's like now, but they have an entire team working on seemingly what I was expected to accomplish alone. I misspoke originally when I said I signed an NDA. I thought the employee handbook acted as one. I am not a lawyer. I never publicly made any statements regarding my time there because I feared even more backlash from a community that was already attacking, defaming, and sending me death threats. I also feared my future in this career given that LTT is large and has industry connections. My time at this company brought my mental health to an all-time low. You could talk to anyone who was around me during my employment and they would confirm it. I would not have recommended anyone I knew to work there, especially with my experience as a woman in the office. I was consistently belittled by certain managers of super management. My work was called dog shit. I was called incompetent when I would reach out to management and try to get help with these situations. I would put on my big girl pants and be more assertive. It doesn't matter if you think I am or am not stupid. This behavior is not appropriate. After enough complaints from me, I was pulled into a meeting. In that meeting, the writer's room was pointed to, and I was asked, do you think any of these people would have a hard time getting a job? I said no. Keep in mind, this was about a month into working there. I was then pointed to and asked, what about you? I was scared. I remember me asking, are you going to fire me? I was laughed at and told to stop being so pessimistic, as if my job and ability hadn't just be vaguely threatened. This is where I need to stop and say no one should talk to you like that. Manager or higher-ups or not. Let's continue reading. I was then asked to agree to a verbal no-drama contract. The verbal part is important. In this moment, I realized I was no longer considered part of the team. I was now a threat because I was putting up a fuss when I believed I was being treated unfairly and inappropriately. This verbal agreement wasn't right. It was behind the scenes warning with no record, a warning that came up very shortly after I had come forward stating that I had been inappropriately grabbed multiple times in the office, amongst other issues. I was barred from being in videos. So when you ask what happened, why wasn't she in more content, that is why. There is this perplexing fear that people will leave LTT and start their own thing if given a platform. So if that platform could threaten negative things coming out about your company or you'd probably want to squash it too. In my experience, there is a belief that everything you accomplish published, no matter how it is created by your own effort, is actually due to Linus giving you a platform. This is what I was told when I moved from Arizona to Vancouver to take this job. After it was publicly announced by Linus that he was hiring me without my knowledge or consent to that situation, and also before I was even offered the job or shown the salary, I agreed inside the employment contract. I had asked and been told during my interviews that I would be allowed to monetize my YouTube channel and be allowed to join Floatplane in exchange for shutting down my Patreon. Once I moved, I was presented with an entirely new contract/handbook that I was not told existed. It detailed that I was given the incorrect information and would actually have to make changes to my plans if I wanted to continue being employed at LTT. This was after I had moved entire countries and given up my visa status. I couldn't just go back. Some corrections were made as apologies for the miscommunication, but I was still upset. I later went to Linus about this and stated that the effort to remedy the situation wasn't sitting right with me. He told me I should change my priorities. He was in this instance referring to the fact that my brother had suddenly passed away not even a week before I moved for this job, and that perhaps I should just ignore that I had been misled because that was more important. I cannot tell you how upset I felt at this moment. I have to put my 2 cents in again. This is wrong. All of it is wrong. But opening up a wound that hasn't been healed yet is a giant low. Not only that, but the fact that she moved from her home to Vancouver and her brother just died a week beforehand is wild. All of this is wild, and I can't imagine how much pain she was in that moment. The opportunities that LTT presented to me were nothing in comparison to the day-to-day issues I faced. It did not matter if I spoke to someone with evidence of an abuse of power or inappropriate workplace behavior. It was considered tattletaling. I was actually called a tattletale, told I was bossy when I was trying to be assertive like I was asked to. I was told I was arguing when I was trying to discuss my point of view. I was told to calm my tits and stop being such a, and other comments to similar effects. There were numerous instances of misinformation being given to me purposefully to negatively impact my work. I only know this because co-workers would tell me they overheard the actual information I should have been given. I felt like a horrible teenage drama movie. Work from home was a whole issue. If you took 3 minutes to answer a personal email, you could get in trouble. Happened to me. There is a system of micromanaging and a level of distrust because the amount of content they have to push out daily is so insane. No one gets a break. I remember getting told off for taking my sick days as in the days you're entitled to. This no days of grind set accumulated the real moment I realized I had to leave. I purposely cut my leg open so badly that I would have to go to the ER to get it stable back together. Jesus Christ. Okay, yeah, that's a bit too far, but wow, I feel really bad. Let's keep reading. It was genuinely the only way in my mind to take a day off without being harassed for a reason why. I had spoken to managers about how I was struggling and how the workload was too much for one person, but I was belittled and told you just have bad time management skills. There are so many instances that led up to that moment, how I could have changed the situation, but I don't think I could have. I was treated unfairly, and in the moment I couldn't see that because I was told I was a problem by people I had looked up to for years. I haven't shared any of this besides with my closest friends and family because I couldn't at the time take any more to my mental health. I couldn't deal with how small and worthless the job had made me feel, all to push out some mediocre shit posts. I am still scared shitless of what the response will be since I am a woman and have already been called dramatic. I am not stating what happened because I am seeking clout. I'm stating it because it has been eating away at me for 2 years. There are genuinely amazing people and compassionate and incredibly intelligent people who work at this company and are driven just to share the cool tech they love. It sucks that ego and a bottom line are slowly destroying some of them and hurting the entire reputation of the company. I didn't ever want to say anything for fear of hurting those people and their employment, but at this point I'm hurting myself keeping this all in while also being constantly bombarded with questions about LTT jokes made at my expense. God damn. I didn't really want to add any of my thoughts until the end, but I really hope the best for Madison. I honestly feel empathetic for Madison. I feel empathetic to her situation. It honestly reminds me a bit of my old job, and yeah, it's just a lot to take in. Hey guys, post-editing Ray here. Just wanted to say thank you guys so much for watching this video. This was a big project for me. This was a long time coming, and I'm really glad I finally got it all done and finished. I just finished recording right now. It is 2:02 p.m. for me. If you guys enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, share, comment on what you liked and disliked on the video and how I can improve my videos in the future. And this is Ray, and I will see you guys. And I will see you guys in the next video that I make. Bye!